Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, all the women out there that are becoming mothers in their motherhood journey. Fellas, it is our time to make sure we show that love and give it back to them as much as they give it to us, man. But today's another edition of Live on Sunday, and we do what we do. We chop it up. We give game, and we make sure we discuss all of the interesting things we see during the week. What I try to do is create a platform that's unfiltered, talked about, real conversations, man. Not only real conversations, but you understand how adequately it fits with you until this day. So, until the ado, comment, like, subscribe, to share to the channel, baby. Share it on all platforms. Share it live. Make sure you love, comment, anything that you see warranted, man. Hopefully you get to join it, man. In the previous week, we talked about a Live on Sunday is number one, making sure you hit all your milestones. And not only us just talking about it, being accountable, man. Last week, we talked about going to the gym, healthy living, checking on your family, having a date night, therapy, whatever it had to be, man. I got to say I was a good 85%. I did not go to the gym as many days as I want to, but as far as keeping up with the nutrition, reading, staying focused, staying dedicated, man, I definitely saw the progression got to come. Business cards officially came in, checked in with the folks, checked in with the family, had a good Mother's Day dinner, good Mother's Day celebration, man. So it was just awesome how everything lines up. Once they know you working hard, you doing right, man. So I want to keep that momentum going. I want to make sure all that progress remains steady. And most importantly, I want to continue to enjoy it, man, the fruits of your labor. So while we here, we're going to chop it up, man, about today's subject, man. Too black, too loud, too proud, black pain, black resurgence, or black vengeance. Today's live this week, man, we really got to break down, man. If you have not heard the news or the story starting off early, are you familiar with the story of a gentleman named Rodney Hinton? We're going to dive into it early, right? Again, comment, like, subscribe, and share to the channel, man. Let's get into it. Rodney Hinton was a father. Let's play the visuals before I get into it. I believe we always got to see the proper context. So I want you to listen in, y'all, because I want y'all to always know full context of the story.
No, there were no indications.
What are we seeing right now is actually Rodney Hinton going to a court case, being prosecuted, and allegedly going to the crime that happened to him and his son. So this is a visual representation of it that I want you to see, and I want your live reaction, and we're going to read the article.
No, there were no indications at any point that he tried to break, stop, or otherwise avoid Deputy Henderson. We believe, based on our investigation, the witnesses that we spoke to up to this point, that Hinton left our office and was traveling and came upon Deputy Hinton and made an intentional decision to drive directly at Deputy Hinton and strike him and kill him.
An Ohio man has been charged with aggravated murder after police say he struck a sheriff's deputy with a car.
There will be an order of remand with no bond.
Prosecutors say the case is linked to another killing the previous day.
This is the most unusual case.
On Thursday, a Cincinnati police officer fatally shot.
Are you looking to start your own business? Look no further than busy.com. Right now, we'll complete your...
An armed 18-year-old as he ran from what police described as a stolen car. Authorities say Ryan Hinton was one of 4 men who were fleeing after officers found them in the car. An officer says it appeared to him that Hinton pointed a gun at him. but the officer's body camera footage does not clearly capture the moment. The officer who shot Hinton has not been publicly named. Police said they recovered a handgun they say Hinton had been carrying. It had not been fired, according to the Cincinnati police chief.
Ryan was a sweet.
Shout out to my boy B. Thank you, B. Small upgrades, smile. We making it, man. As much as we talk, shout out to my dog. If you see my guy on all platforms, Poetry B, Fitness Guru B, follow that man. Let's keep going.
Gentle giant. We as Black people, we don't deserve to be killed just because we're running away from the police.
Being in a stolen car, having a firearms, we're in Ohio, so you can open carry in Ohio. So that's not a death.
If you don't know, Ohio is Alabama of the Midwest. Ohio is blue collar, hardworking family and culture. Having guns is the norm. It is not abnormal to have a gun in the state of Ohio in that region. That's why he's saying that.
The next day, his father, Rodney Hinton Jr., became distraught while watching police body camera footage of the killing, his family attorney told the Cincinnati Enquirer. Hours later, prosecutors allege Hinton purposefully struck and killed long-serving Hamilton County Sheriff's Deputy Larry Henderson as he was directing traffic at a commencement.
I don't think he was a cop killer. I think he was not in his right mind. And I think he should be treated like any other mentally ill person that commits a crime under the auspices, control, and authority of a mental defect in a condition. That's what we have in this case.
That's a heck of an argument by that attorney. Shout out to that brother. But let's go ahead and dive into the article, deep dive into it, right? I want y'all to read it. I'm going to share the screen and make it a little bit more bigger so y'all can read it. All right, Mr. Rodney Hinton Jr., who authorities say intentionally hit an Ohio deputy with his car after his son was shot by the police, will remain without bond awaiting his trial. Mr. Hinton was denied bail in Tuesday court in Cincinnati. He is charged with an aggravated murder on May 2nd of Larry Henderson. There was an order with no bond replaced so we can make sure the victim was carried safely, especially with the killing of his 18-year-old son, Ryan Hinton IV. The man was fleeing the incident after an alleged car was stabbed and an alleged firearm was dropped. Let's take a deep dive into it, y'all. So we know this father was in emotional distress, right? We know this father was not in a mental mindset. We know this father was grieving over his child being murdered on camera. We cannot continue to go along this route and act like both sides of the argument do not have a form of PTSD they're dealing with, man. That father saw his son murdered on camera. I'm not justifying him doing what he did, going after it the way he did, but we got to understand, man, seeing children, things like this happen to you will have an effect. I am kind of shocked how many times we have incidents like this, y'all, and we never mention that Black people can have or suffer from PTSD. PTSD is a trauma that you can see just by seeing a dead body, from seeing a real life murder or anything that happened, let alone a child. You see your child get murdered on camera off an alleged incident, and we just act like nothing mentally could have switched or flicked off for him or anything like that. Mr. Hinton loved his child. Clearly, he loved them to do what he did by finding a police officer and willing to hit him with a car. We got to understand, man, this is not a mental mindset case. This has to be a serious life case of, man, was his brother even cooperating right? Yes, he should go. Yes, he should get the caution. Yes, he should see the things. But is he in a mental mindset to even process his thoughts? Seeing your child get murdered on camera, I don't care what nobody say, man. I couldn't even imagine how to process that. Think about this. People get fired from their jobs and go back and try to harm somebody. Imagine losing your child and then being told you must remain calm. Imagine seeing your child gunned down on camera with an alleged gun incident that you know he didn't have, and you get told to remain calm. All I'm saying is, in America, for all of those that want to guilt trip Mr. Hinton and say he said this and say he said that, I'm not saying I recommend it. But what I am saying is I understand. I understand why he responded that way. I sympathize with how he responded from that action. I understand that what situation that put him in, seeing your son get gravitas on camera can have an effect on you. Anybody that does not sympathize and understand with that is clearly not trying to understand the situation. And let's not even forget, y'all, the film that the police, the Blue Wall Shield, stood right there, had a tactic of intimidation to make sure that he has no bond hearing, to have multiple people try to adjacent him or go after him. You can't not never look at him sideways. What I keep seeing every time I see the comments of the story is one thing we keep failing to mention. The story of Luigi keeps coming back up. All the people tired of being pressed down upon, and they're starting to punch back up. What this reminds me, let me put my historical Google cap on, is the French Revolution. The French Revolution in real time was when the working class overthrew the aristocrat party. The aristocrat was the rich, the wealthy, the hard-to-do, had their certain set of standards they lived by, and the peasant and the working class tend to overthrow the government. They overthrew the government by knocking them out, pushing them out in the field, going against their grain, going against their operations. We are starting to see water droplets of that happening. Drip, 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 drip. We begin to see that happen in real time. I don't think most people are taking heed that law enforcement is not being respected. Positions are not being respected. What you do for a living is not being respected. The casualty we have with each other is not being respected. The once fear, the reverence we had with each other is not being respected. What we got to understand in real time is that we are in a different cycle in the way we go about things. Like it, love it, or hate it, you got to visually understand this is the moment in life that we're living in. To close my thoughts on that Mr. Hinton subject, it's a tragedy to see your son get murdered on camera. It is a tragedy for you to even act like I must mentally try to process this case and see how it would affect me in real time. It is a tragedy to me to act like everything is all right and no proper services will be given to me on how to mentally process me seeing that. In conclusion, you ain't got to agree with how it went down, but you got to understand. And you ain't got to listen to me. Remember, I tend to do the field research, listen, and I go back and make my own judgment. So what I want you to see right now is the field judgment of what other people are saying, not just me. King Crowder, you can be biased, man. What you talking about? You just talking. You know, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know mentally what everything going with. All right, let's hear what the streets got to say.
I'm not saying I would have done what Rodney Hinton done, but I understand. Police shot his son in the back multiple times. What kind of rage do you think a parent would feel learning that the police had shot their son in the back? I would not have done that, but I understand. Hinton used his car to take a life, and the life of somebody who was not part of taking his son's life, but the level of anger and rage that he felt consumed him. I'm not saying I would have done it, but I understand. This is the rage that propelled thousands and thousands of us into the streets after George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. And I'm not saying this is the way to get free. I'm not saying this is what other people need to do. I wouldn't have done it, but I understand. I'm not saying I would have done what Rodney Hinton done.
And I don't want y'all to think I'm just saying stuff or hearing it, man. When you hear stuff, when you hear people talking, we have a court case. Listen to the sentiments of what people's ideas and thoughts about. No matter what you feel about Mr. Hinton or what you think about this and that, when you listen and hear what that father had to go through and mentally process it, no matter if it's good, bad, or how you feel about it, you got to understand. He had to be going through something mentally to process it and go gun a man down. Mr. Hinton was feeling it, bro. And again, the story is tragedy. Nobody won during this entire situation. But I can also see from that grand light of things that Mr. Hinton need help on how to process it. You ain't got to like it, you ain't got to love it, you ain't got to enjoy it, but you got to respect where he came from and how he stood on the business. Next up, man, have y'all not saw Candance, Tetherwork, Candance Owens? Number one, I want people to understand something. Candance Owens has zero influence among Black people. She does not represent Black women. I even hate calling her a Black woman. She is a Caribbean woman, right? She has zero influence. and she's trying to spin the block doing black channels, acting like she can get some reverence. What I want to do before I speak on it wholeheartedly, I want you to hear out the horse's mouth her we're doing great topics and great trajectory situations. Stay tuned. Share the lie. Share the lie.
And not all Black people commit crimes. The numbers you look at is how many police encounters Black people had versus how many police encounters white Americans had. And when you look at those numbers, you will realize that the only thing we're doing disproportionately in this country is committing crimes. Take 2018, for example, right? 13% of the population, Black Americans, accounted for 40% of all of the murders and something like 50% of all violent offenses in the country. That's not normal. We are having more encounters with police, and despite having more encounters with police, white Americans are the ones that are being killed at a higher rate, okay? And Hispanic men at a higher rate. When you take a subset and you look over 100,000 encounters with police and with white Americans versus Black Americans, you will discover that Black Americans have less of a chance of having a fatal incident with police officers. Those are the facts. And I really don't care how those facts make you feel. I know it's so easy today being a Black person. People commit crimes, and not all Black people commit crimes. The numbers you look at is how many police encounters Black people had versus how many police encounters white Americans had. And when you look at those numbers, you will realize that the only thing we're doing disproportionately in this country is committing crimes. Take 2018, for example, right?
I had to let it play twice so you can hear it. I don't want you to think I'm biased. I just want you to hear her keep speaking.
13% of the population, Black Americans, accounted for 40% of all of the murders and something like 50% of all violent offenses in the country. That's not normal. We are having more encounters with police, and despite having more encounters with police, white Americans are the ones that are being killed at a higher rate, okay? And Hispanic men at a higher rate. When you take a subset and you look over 100,000 encounters with police and with white Americans versus Black Americans, you will discover that Black Americans have less of a chance of having a fatal incident with police officers. Those are the facts. And I really don't care how those facts make you feel. I know it's so easy today being a Black person.
Listen, y'all, I'm going to break something down for you. Whenever you encounter someone like that you hear say things like that you know is kind of punching down. Race, ethnicity, nationality. Candance Owens is visually a representation of a Black woman. Ethnically, she is not a Black American woman. She comes from the Caribbean. Nationally, her family and her lineage has no identity to the descendants of freedmen, for that foundation of Black Americans, whatever they choose to identify of Black and American soil. For her to speak so openly against Black Americans, I want you to understand something. She is not representing anybody we know. For her to try to rebrand her stuff, knowing that she said horrific things about Ahmaud Arbery, horrific things about Breonna Taylor, horrific things about George Floyd, she has an audience that is not for us. Stop acting like she has influence. Stop acting like she has courage. Stop acting like she has support. She has zero, none of the above. She does not represent any of our intellectual class. She does not represent anybody from our community. When you hear the word tether, right? We hear that word being used so much. What that means is an international sambo. That's what a tether is. An international coon. Whatever word you want to use. She fits the stereotype of that. Remember, the sambo and the coon's mentality is anti-Black. Anti-Black means I'm going to do anything to undermine, discourage, go against, undersell, go down upon, discredit you at all costs to go get up and build up my initiative. Candance Owens will never be influential because her critiques are not sounded. I'm going to give you the great example. Out of all her critiques she gives against Black Americans, right? Name me any time she has ever critiqued a white American male. Let that marinate for something. If you have never critiqued, went against, had an honest opinion, gave an honest feedback against the other side, it lets me know that you are impartial. Impartial people mean that you have a bias. You can't see through what you're saying. Every conversation, every talking point you go on has a facade of something attached to it. That is why none of her influence has seeped past or penetrated well. She has delivered a message that Black Americans are bad. No matter what we do, it's our fault. We use racism as a crutch. Yada, 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 yada. Watch any of her videos. Watch any of her content. That will always be the source of information she spins back to. No matter what you say, no matter what you do. Once you identify that, y'all, you begin to understand and know how to break down those conversations. I'm not saying all of us got to be an intellectual class to know these things. What I am saying is that I want all of us to be educated enough when we hear those things to know how to debunk them. Debunking them is having that conversation being said. Why does this person always feel this way? No matter what the story is, I can project their point of view. Before I hear you speak, if I know what you're going to say, you have an agenda to you. I'm going to give you a great example. Charleston White. I can watch a video and know exactly what he's going to say. Candance Owens. I can watch a video and know exactly what she's going to say. That means an agenda is in place, ladies and gentlemen. That means I know exactly what you're going to take away from this video. None of your thoughts or ideas will be intellectually sound enough to give a different perspective. None of your thoughts, mindset, ideas will be new. I know exactly what point of view you're going to stick with. I know exactly who's going to be to blame. I know exactly where it's going to go. What I'm going to do is teach you to remove the bridge before it happens. Before somebody begins to speak on that rabbit hole, take it away from them. If you love football, remember the NFL team called the New England Patriots. Why were the New England Patriots so good? I'm going to take your best two players away from you and make you fight in the opposite way. Why was Floyd Mayweather so great? I'm going to take away your best punch and take it away from you early. Whatever your best move, whatever your best thing is, i.e. Candance Owens, take away the card from her early. That is when you begin to make them think intellectually about arguments instead of the same old tropes. Black people are bad. We are this. Black Americans this. Black Americans this. Take it away. Ask another question. I wanted to hit this point of view and have on a thumbnail because I see she's trying to rebrand herself. And I do love Nick Cannon. I do believe the brother has a great point of view and perspective. I love who he interviews with, but I do believe she needs to sit with somebody down that is intellectually refined enough to go at her point. I would love to see her sit down with a Tariq Nasheed, a Jason Black, or anybody like that. What that tells me is that she knows the market she can talk to for a specific reason. You are talking to males that may not be on point enough. Nigga's a brilliant brother, but he may not be sharp enough to go back to you with those points. And it shows me that you're pigeonholed and picking your conversations. And let's be frank, no disrespect to the Breakfast Club. They have not had their juice in a while. I don't know if it's because of the envy situation with the real estate and Caesar. I don't know what it is, but we know it has not been the same, and the hard-hitting questions hasn't been the same in a few years. What made me look at the Breakfast Club with a side eye? And if I ever make it one day, I'm going to ask them. When a black film by a black director came about talking about the foundations and origins of hip-hop, ain't nobody brought them up to let them talk about it. When we're having that conversation about Fat Joes and others being disrespectful of the Latino culture to Black Americans, ain't nobody else thought to bring it up and talk about it? Why was there only one perspective given? Oh, it's a bias there. So I want many Black Americans to understand that. When you see that bias come up again and again, you remove it. Take the move, take down their best play, and take it out to action. And that is where you begin to see the mains move and change moving forward. My last bit of quote I got for this subject, y'all. We're all talking about Candance Owens and how big and how much things she see that was happening right now. What I also think is important is this, y'all. When we're having these conversations, right, and we are seeing these things happen in real time, listen. Don't go back and forth. Don't get into a whole argument, a conversation about it. I want you to just listen and process what other things we see going on. Next, it was a great story that I saw this week, y'all. And the story was about, if you do not know, I didn't know who this gentleman was. Meet the Gala, right? Meet the Gala is not for me. The Gala, whole movie is for the ladies. Shout out to the ladies. Shout out to Mother's Day. And Meet the Gala had a story about an Indian gentleman who I've never heard of, right? And one reason I want to talk about this story is that
I'm going to say this in the next.
I noticed a lot of people had a lot of smoke for black folks talking about, so we don't know who this Indian gentleman is, which we don't. I ain't never heard of the dude. He must not be that popping. But I want y'all to take a look at this story, and I want people to understand something. When you look out for people and they say a comment, say something disrespectful, say something that you hear that you didn't check at the time, and then you hear him say it, that wasn't by coincidence. You already felt that way, my boy. You felt that way, and your energy just showed in real time. So the guy is a big deal out of India, but he made some disrespectful comments. I want you to watch and see this video and see what I'm talking about. Comment, like, and subscribe to the channel.
Possible, and I'm going to hold your hand while I'm doing it. The average American has no idea who Shah Rukh Khan is. Matter of fact, I'm an entertainment reporter. I went to work today and I asked a few people, do you know who Shah Rukh Khan is? And they all said no. And these are people who have been in the industry 20 plus years. And two things can be true at once. He is an international, global superstar, a living legend. He's not relevant in American pop culture. And that is by design. America for a long time has only exported its culture, media, art as a means of soft power and never imported it. And it's to perpetuate this false idea that America is the best country in the world, the best at everything, and the rest of the world's media, music, movies, etc. is subpar. Only recently is that changing with social media, the internet, streaming services, importing entertainment from the rest of the world. So we have K-pop, for example, Nollywood movies, Bollywood movies, even the.
And I ain't know about none of this, y'all. I'm gonna keep it 1,000. When I'm hearing about this week, I ain't know Bollywood, I ain't even know Indians had their own thing. And it's not to be ignorant. You just not popping like that. I don't know why that's disrespectful. When did I ever heard an Indian man I want to be like, dog, you just not popping. I'm just keeping it funky. You have your culture. We respect it. We show homage. I think it's dope. But to act like I got to be hip and you ain't hip to mine, I think it's crazy. I'm going to let it keep cooking.
And let's look at the name Bollywood, for example, which is a combination of Bombay, which was the former name of the Indian city Mumbai, and Hollywood, right? So it still centers the American film industry. Same thing with Nollywood, which is Nigerian Hollywood. So I think the anger towards Ego and Tiana is misdirected because they did not disrespect him at all. But I think it's this frustration with America. Now we think we're the center of the universe, and that has created animosity. We're very sheltered from the rest of the world, deliberately. Even the way we teach geography in schools isn't the way they teach geography abroad. That's why the average American, when you ask him where India is going to point to Brazil. Things are changing. We are bursting through our bubble. We are getting exposed to different cultures, different languages, different influences. And for some, that is seen as threatening, including this current administration. I also know how hyper-focused our entertainment outlets are on American pop culture and not just American pop.
Why shouldn't we be, I guess for me, y'all, as an outsider to the Hollywood and other stuff industry, why should we be worried about what they got going on? That's what you got going on. What you like is maybe not my type of thing, and that's okay, bro. But to act like you are big in your neighborhood don't mean you big in my neighborhood. I know when I go to DC, New Balances were popping back then. When you go to Houston, slabs are a big deal. When you go to the West, you know there's certain type of fashion. New York, everything has a different culture, man. It's a big world out here. But you act like just because what you gotta like is popping because you say it, bro. Man, if you don't, that energy to me already tells me you got some underlying issues. I want you to understand something, y'all. If somebody got some false energy with you and you already feel it, and I invite you and show you love, but you already have that ungratefulness spirit, oh, you've been feeling some type of way about me. You've been having some energy that you ain't like the way I went about some things, but this just came up and you really got to show your hand. You really got to show your hand and say, hey, I wasn't fooling with you, King Crowder, anyway, but I'm going to use this as an outlet to say, hey, bro, you know, I ain't like you, but I want to act like I like you. So stop with the BS, man. Bollywood been feeling this type of way. The whole culture been feeling this type of energy. They're using this to make it public. That's what it is. So if we're going to be transparent about something, let's keep it 100. Stop being 75. Stop being 65 with it. Let's just keep it real, man. That's all I like. I don't like when people be fake about stuff like that. If your energy already off when you met me, I already knew what time you was on. That don't mean that we got to keep going, because either we can keep it two ways. We can keep it funky or we can keep it corporate. But don't act like, oh, I'm feeling the same way. Now I got to say something, because you weren't feeling the same way when somebody else did it. So well, who you playing, bro? You playing yourself because you ain't playing with me. Because when we play with me, you know everybody don't play the same. I just got to put that out there. I'm sorry. I just had to put my feelings out there, because I really do be thinking that like that.
Culture, white American pop culture. And in fact, the irony of all of this is the fact that this was the first Met Gala to put a spotlight on Black style, and how for too long that has gone.
And I ain't know that. Shout out to the Met Gala Black style. This for women. I'm sorry. This for y'all, but I thought this story was really interesting, so I had to dive into it.
Unacknowledged, unappreciated, appropriated. And this was supposed to be the moment that was spotlighted. And so the whole point is, we're all fighting the same fight, y'all. And it is.
But sisters, I want y'all to understand something. We not fighting the same fight. If we was fighting the same fight, this wouldn't even been no issue to come about like that. Stop trying to be inclusive when it comes to that. Buddy and the people showed you how they felt. I'm cool with it. The line is in the sand. We have the same energy. What you saying is what I'm saying. Stop acting like we're going to get along. We're going to come about with that. That ain't what it is, bro. And I'm cool with it. Stop acting like it's the other way. I don't like that we do that.
Misdirected anger to take it out on those two women. Love them. I think they did a good job, but it's not lost on me that job hosting the Vogue live stream was held by Andre Leon Talley, who was fired and ousted from that position because they wanted Liza Koshy, a YouTuber, who it's not her fault, but they wanted the eyeballs, right? With the changing social media times, they wanted somebody with a huge following instead of somebody who was a fashion historian, who had extensive knowledge of the industry.
All right, they're going too deep. I'm going to show y'all one more video before I really get my lasting thoughts on this. Where is it at right here? I thought Buddy right here kind of spun it kind of good, and it was real.
If it was two white women who interviewed Shah Rukh Khan at the Met Gala, this would not have been met with.
And Shah Rukh Khan, I guess, is the Indian big deal. That's who Buddy is. I mean, I don't know him, but he is a big deal over there. So I want y'all to catch where I'm going with it.
Any of the discourse that's currently happening, entire backlash is rooted in anti-blackness. I'm going to show you a interview of the legend Babyface and how he was rudely interviewed, rudely set aside, just so you can see what an actual rude, dismissive interview looks like versus what Shah Rukh Khan experienced with Ego and Tiana Taylor.
The genre with hip hop and rock as well.
Yes, I think it's interesting.
Chapel.
Wait, hey, I know Shorty ain't talking while Babyface is having a conversation. I know I ain't just hold up.
You guys want to do that?
Oh no, Babyface. That was disrespectful. That was disrespectful to an iconic figure. Shout out to Babyface for keeping it professional, not saying something. That was disrespectful. That was.
Go do that.
Hold on. I gotta watch that again. Hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. That really got underneath me right there. Hold on.
If it was two white women who interviewed Shah Rukh Khan, he was rudely interviewed.
Watching it again.
Rudely set aside, just so you can see what an actual rude, dismissive interview looks like versus what Shah Rukh Khan experienced with Ego and Tiana Taylor.
The genre with hip hop and rock as well.
Yes, I think it's interesting.
Chapel.
You guys want to do that? Wow. Go do that.
No, bro.
We are here with Shah Rukh Khan, who is the first male Bollywood actor to attend the Met Gala. Please tell us how it feels to make history tonight.
I don't know about history, but I'm extremely nervous and excited. And Sabyasachi, who convinced me to come here.
The only person that was rude in this entire interview process was the designer. He walked into that room with a.
I want to say something. I don't even want the video. Keep going. If anytime we have an issue and you immediately go to you disrespected me card, you've been feeling some type of way. If anytime we have a disagreement, we get into it, we exchange words, and you go down disrespectful or bring up something and go down and bring up disrespectful words, you've been feeling some type of way. And for Buddy to not even be a big deal, ain't nobody ever heard of Buddy. We don't know him. We don't know his word. We don't know what Bollywood is. The ladies were not disrespectful. They definitely greeted him. They interviewed him appropriately. And the first thing y'all go into is to make disrespectful words. Listen, man. I don't want to hear nothing about no Gala. I don't want to hear nothing about being mannerable. I don't want to hear nothing about having a certain amount of decorum or couth. It was no couth given. Stop acting like we got to be understanding. Stop acting like that. And it's so deep that we don't even understand that layers are given to us even with our eyes, y'all, right? It's another TikTok I want y'all to meet. Because remember, y'all, I'm not as well versed on certain things. And if I'm an educated man, right? If I'm not well versed on something, there's no point in me acting like I try to explain it. My point is to always give you what's called first person analysis. So I want you to understand how deep it goes, even with the clothing industry. Fair use. Comment, like, subscribe. Fair use, baby. I want y'all to see this. It's amazing. Make myself smaller.
Got a choice in what she wore? Louis Vuitton doesn't do choices. They do stereotypes. Let's play a little game. I'm going to show you article clothing, and you guess the race of the model. Round 1. Oh, look, a black guy wearing monogram. Round 2. Oh, look, it's a dude in finance. Round 3. You already knew the answer. Round 4. Are you really surprised? All right, here's a trick one. No, you know who's going to have it on. Oh, this is a really nice sweater. Yeah, they'll definitely put a black guy in this. No, they only put black people in the loud stuff. I could do this all day. This one's a little tricky for real. I got you. It's not fully monogram. This is the easy one. I'll give you the answer. Clearly not putting a black person in this. But I bet this is exactly who he had envisioned. And it's not just the fellas. Who you think they're styling this dress? Come on, you already knew the answer. What about this one? All right, let's try some more. Thoughts on this one? Surprise, surprise. Another gimme. You know good and well they're not putting a black woman in this dress. This is all not a coincidence. We're talking about a company rooted in the French aristocracy. And if you ever see a non-black person wearing monogram, notice the little details that they do to class it up a little bit. Notice the scarf worn with this t-shirt and the scarf worn here. You mean my man in nearly identical top can't get a scarf? Y'all really think Dolce?
You know, the one thing I notice immediately as that brother continue to break stuff down, whenever I see a lot of people, especially us when we wear designer clothes, it's always with the imprinting. I don't get it why you got to wear the name, the big old fat. I don't understand it so much, but I do agree with him. Everything loud, expressive, certain type of imagery is meant to try to push towards our aesthetic. Clean, low key, smaller chain, not as graphic, not as see me type of imagery is never pushed on us. That's a bar he hit right there. Whoever that creator was definitely hit a bar. And you know why it was such a bar? Because it's true. Everybody that we had these conversations with, I want y'all to understand something. Nothing hits as much. Nothing hits as much as the same unless it's some truth and validity to it. You ain't got to like it. You ain't got to support it. You ain't even got to rock with it a whole lot. But what you got to do is say, but Buddy got a point, though. Buddy definitely got a point. Buddy definitely is spitting knowledge. And you can't go against it. You know what I'm saying? No matter how you feel about it. Shout out to it again, man. Comment, like, subscribe to the channel. King Crowder, we here. My next topic, man, that hurt my heart this weekend, man. Miss Viola Fletcher is the oldest living victim of the Tulsa massacre. If you don't know what the Tulsa massacre is, Google it. Please read about this update. It was the largest terrorist attack happened on American soil. I want y'all to think about this something. This last living victim is still alive, and she made a case against the state of Oklahoma to get reparations, and they denied her. And I got on TV this weekend, right? And I saw a movie about Emmett Till. I couldn't watch it. I couldn't watch it because the lady that made the accusation about Emmett Till died prior to that movie coming out. Think about that for a second. The killer of the crime was alive, not convicted, and got to live out to her elderly days in a movie about the horrific crime that happened against a teenager, a baby in America about his life came out. You know why it wasn't resonated? It wasn't true. You know why it didn't stick? It did not be as honest and detailed about it. What I am looking forward to, y'all, when these real black films come out by black directors speaking on a historical context using a black American artist, you imagine a film by Emmett Till by Ryan Coogler, how much it hit? Can you imagine how much it would resonate as we seen this brother with the short films he's already done? I am excited for things like it to come out, but I am also sad seeing this. Remember, she is celebrating her 111th birthday. She is the last survivor of the Tulsa Massacre, and she still not has been paid reparations. She still not has gotten her compensatory justice. She still not has gotten her understanding. She still hasn't gotten her love and support that she should have gotten. I wanted to show this picture of her because it was deep. And to me, it's so deep because we see it in real time. And I don't think most people even understand that this case was given to the Oklahoma Supreme Court. And guess what? No one has ever paid. And you know the reason why I wanted to bring that up, right? You know me, I always like to bring in something. We always hear the subject of reparations as a race issue. It's not. It's not. Let me clarify for you. Reparations has nothing to do with race. I'm going to allow the brother Marcel Dixon, if you did not know who he is, he's a phenomenal potential political candidate out of the great state of South Carolina. Listen to him break it down.
Not based on race. It's based on status. A black person who comes here from Nigeria or Jamaica or Brazil, they're not owed a penny from America. They chose to come here. We are talking about the people who are freedmen, the descendants of people emancipated by this country. We still know those people because you are one of those people. I am one of those people. A lot of those people here in the audience, I just told you I could break down my genealogy. My dear Nana was 101 when she died. My great-grandfather just died 3 weeks ago. He was 100. He remembers fighting alongside white veterans in World War II. He remembers coming back and seeing his white veterans get homes and lands and pensions and the door being slammed in his face. And we are going to say that America that says liberty and justice for all, that's okay. Get over it. Keep it moving. While we have to hear never forget for everyone else's tragedy. And as far as from where reparations will come, I need people to stop thinking it's going to come from their tax dollars. Look at all the trillions that America spends right now. We talk about inflation, the invisible tax. We have something called the PPP loans. Do we remember the PPP loans? America spent $6 trillion on PPP loans. You know what they just did? They canceled all of it. And we didn't even know. America gave the corporations, the banks alone, $29 trillion. You know what they did with that? They canceled all of it. So let's stop acting as if America is as hamstrung by debt as they want to pretend. Because when America wants to pay for something, they find a way to do it. And truth be told, the corporations, again, aren't hurting.
Wow. This brother's really chefing up, man. I had to pause to just, wow.
The defense manufacturers aren't hurting. It's only Americans who are hurting. And that is a choice. We all know it's a choice. That's why we're running for office, because we know this country can do better. So I refuse to accept that this country can't do right by a people they've wronged for centuries. And I refuse to accept that any justice-minded person thinks that's the right thing to do.
That was a bar. I also want you to remember three big things that brother said that was phenomenal. Reparation discussion is happening. No matter how you feel, how you vote, how you think, it is happening. It is not on race. It is on status. It is not something to be paid. It is something that is owed. And finally, it is something that has always happened throughout U.S. history. He didn't dive into it, but I'm going to. Homestead was something that was given and owed. American Revolutionary War was not something given. It was something owed. Reparation to Jews that happened in Germany. It wasn't something that we owed. It was something given to repair those that were aggrieved doing those atrocities in American history. No matter how you feel about the study of reparations, for Black Americans, descendants from chattel slavery, if you have done your genealogy and ethnicity, you can trace it back. I have traced back my lineage personally to 1750, and I can go all the way to Polk County, where it's in Monroe, North Carolina, and Mount Pleasant, Tennessee. I can say from my maternal side of the family, we are descendants of American slaves. My father's side of the family came from the city of New York. His father was a Black Panther. He was a product of an infidelity. He was a side baby. That's what it was. They also are descendants of American slaves relocated to the north during the Great Migration. That is the period we got to mention about. Those that know their ethnicity and origin are the descendants of freedmen that qualify for reparations. Stop acting like it's going to be difficult to do. Stop acting like it's going to be challenging. Those who have done the work, know their family origin, reported on it, know the stories, that's who qualifies for it. So when we have these conversations about how do we know who gets it, simple. Allow those who are in the process to do the work. It's not based on race. It's based on status. Freedman is a recognized term in the legal dictionary as we speak. We don't go by it that much because we've had Black Power movement, FBA, all those things. But when we talk about legal standing in class and how this issue is going to come about, this is what he's talking about, and it's real. So the story of reparations needs to be brought up because, like I've said earlier in that tragic video, we have survivors of ethnic cleansings that have taken place in this country, and we do not talk about. We have real life hate crimes that we've seen happen, that we've seen reoccur, and that we've seen happen and still affect us until this day. King Crowder, why are you bringing up this subject? I brought it up because remember, y'all, that Tulsa survivor, that victim of that crime is still around. And it is a shame, it is a travesty that that victim of that crime who saw that, who was displaced, who was moved around, who never got the justice they deserve, is 101 years old and possibly will not receive a cent. Now, I want you to ask yourself something. Is that American justice? As I love to say, shout out to Jason Black, we don't have a court system. We don't have a justice system in this country. We have a court system. If you have money, you will receive the justice. If you do not, you will not receive the contemporary justice and based on your standing and how much economic level you have. Based off that standing, and we see the crimes that were aggrieved, we see it happen in real time. So reparations happening, no matter if you like it. FBA, descendant of freedmen, it's occurring. Get on it. Next, TikTok waves was crazy this week, y'all. You know what I'm saying? You know how I love to stay tuned and stay course on what we start talking about. It was a phenomenal subject brought up this week, man. And, you know, shout out to the wifey bringing it up to me.
Like, we really in a fuck.
Is Jim's attire getting out of hand? I'm going to let the brother cook, and then I'm going to go because I want to hear what y'all got to say next.
In day and age, we're telling bitches, can you please stop coming to the gym ass fucking naked? Starts a public fucking discourse, a public fucking uproar. Like, all we want to do is come to the fucking gym and work out, but no, the leg press machine got to look like a fucking casting couch because bitches is literally at the gym in lingerie. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? Then a bitch will look you in your eyes and tell you it's not bothering anybody. I'm uncomfortable. What the fuck, bitch? Are we at Myrtle Beach or LA fucking Fitness? Help me understand. Help me understand why you feel the need to come outside damn near naked. What is it about? Why are you fighting so hard to literally just go in public service ass naked? Like, that's essentially what the fuck you fighting for. Like, this is, if that is important to you as a person, you are one privileged piece of shit. Because who the fuck out of all the bills, death, institutionalized systematic racism and shit, imperialism, and you want to put your fucking time and emotions to fighting for bitches to be able to come to any public event ass fucking naked. Bitch, shorts so fucking tight up her ass, she got to fart for them bitches to come off. Get the fuck out my...
Buddy felt some type of way. My 2 cents on it. Number one, I'll never forget, y'all. I met someone from a different country, right? And I'm in Texas. Shout out to Houston. And when you meet people from different countries, you know what one lady taught me that stuck with me. She was a cleaner inside of a job I used to work at when I first got down to Houston at one of the schools at one of the campuses, right? And one thing she told me, she was like, Mr. Crowder, one thing that's fascinating to me is that most women in America do everything for attention. Most women outside of America do everything for respect. Let me say it again. American women get all of the freedoms and understanding, and women from other countries get 0% of it and just want the same respect and decency. American women got so much freedom, y'all. They don't even think about sometimes, not all, right? That gym attire sometimes when you have children there can be inappropriate. That when you go out at night, and I get it that you want to dress provocative, but you got to understand, going to the gym is a public atmosphere, right? Sometimes the attire is not cool. Can we keep it 100? We got to keep it 100, right? I don't want to see a dude with a straight up no shirt on working out because I know you got the feds or something. I don't want to see a young lady dressed inappropriately when we come out. We got to remember, public indecency was something that was enforced, but it has definitely rolled back some of the past 10 years. We all know what's appropriate. The finger test, the spandex test. Dressing appropriately is hard to judge. I know it is. I agree. I feel like it's a gray area because I'm trying to control it. But I understand when somebody says something, hey, I don't want to see that. I get it, man. As someone that has seen children in the gym, I don't want to see young men around that type of environment where they can't control and control their emotions like that. Because number one, they're going to say something. Number two, let's keep it real, man. Nobody wants bare arms, body on gym equipment. That's the most thing for me. When I see a dude bare, sweaty on the back, and he don't even wipe it off, bro, that's nasty. Not saying you can't work out, not saying you can't do your thing, but just having it to the point where I gotta wipe it off and it's almost sticky. You're not doing it for glorification. You're doing it to gain attention from somebody. And I get it, y'all. Attention for women is currency. That's one thing as a man you got to understand that you can't go against. Attention for certain women is currency. A lot of women don't get attention, y'all. And their body and their beauty is the first thing they do to get it. I get it. But trying to champion and control it is a hard thing to do. But I do believe it needs to be a discussion. I do believe that some gym clothing just ain't appropriate. Can we agree with that? Can we agree that how you go out and show out is not appropriate? Can we also agree indecent exposure has gotten out of hand? What's the see-through dress, the short pasty shorts? I get it if it's nighttime. Remember, y'all, lingerie ain't a thing no more. Because you can go out and see Brian panties like it's nothing. The secret lingerie, the spandex, the sexy clothes is no longer a thing. It is so easy to access to get. It's not even hard anymore. So, to me, it needs to be discussed. Gym policies must be updated. The content doing it, the recording, all of that stuff. I get tired of it. When I go and work out, I want to get a good workout, good pump, good muscle, good run in. I don't want you to be setting up a camera. I don't want you having 3 different sections around you. Do your set and continue moving. It is nothing worse than you doing it and it's packed. That's my thing. If you got up at 5 in the morning, wasn't nobody really there, you recorded it, wasn't nobody could really see you, perfect. But doing it in the middle of the day while I'm trying to get my session in and you're trying to talk and hold up court and do things, it's an inconvenience. It is. Not trying to be funny, not trying to be disrespectful. It is what it is. So when I hear that topic, people feel strongly about it, man. I didn't know that it would garner that much reaction, but it's true. People really have a strong feeling about, like, bro, I don't want to see that in the gym. You know what else I don't want to see in the gym a lot, man? And what else I'm tired of seeing? I didn't know since I moved to Houston, when I was kind of ignorant on this subject, that skin bleaching was a big thing outside of America. My lady dark skin, I ain't never think about it, right? I never came to my mind and thought about changing or altering my skin. Never in my mind or have I ever been presented with skin bleaching actually doing a thing. But since I've been in Houston, y'all, and I've been in several stores of other ethnicities, skin bleaching is real. And I believe this subject needs to be talked about. One, because number one, it's shocking. Skin bleaching is not a thing in America, y'all. I'm serious. It's not. It's not a thing among Black Americans. You look crazy, say you're gonna bleach your skin. But outside of it, it is. And I do believe a lot of us are uneducated on how deep to go. Let's take a listen.
People of color outside of the US realize that Black Americans really do not fuck with skin bleaching. Like, we think that's corny as fuck. Not to say that we don't deal with colorism, obviously. But like, when we hear about celebrities skin bleaching, or we just hear about people in general skin bleaching, we dog them. We think that is so fucking corny. So fucking corny. I don't know what to tell y'all. I don't know where the miscommunication is, but as soon as we find out somebody bleaches their skin or promotes skin bleaching products, automatic L. The way we dog Sammy Sosa, Sammy fucking.
Hey, did y'all just like forget?
And I want to pause that, and I want y'all to see a video of a Jamaican cat, Vibes Cartel. I don't know if y'all know who he is, man. I had to watch it because I was truly shocked to see how in Jamaica and other Caribbean nations, how big it was. I was ignorant to it. This is something I had to learn in recent time, y'all. I'm not really hip to the vibes, especially if males doing it. But I want you to see it, man. It's kind of shocking just to see the skin color.
People better looking. Vibes Cartel believes they are. So much so, he bleached his skin. He said, why are y'all lying? Listen to the lyrics of all the rappers. They're always talking about light-skinned girls. Everybody wants a light-skinned girl. Even the girls want a light-skinned brother. Everybody does. Why can't we just be real and say lighter is better looking? People said, bro, you're bleaching your skin. And initially he said, what? I'm not bleaching my skin. What are you talking about? I just stay out of the sun. I'm drinking water, 2 liters a day, and I moisturize it. After a while, he said, yes, I'm bleaching my skin. There's nothing wrong with it. What's wrong? He went on to launch his own skin bleaching products. Some people got really mad about this. A radio station said, I'm not playing Vibes Cartel for the whole of Black History Month. If you ain't Black, I'm not going to play you for Black History Month. But look at the knuckles and the lips. Look around the eyes. You never really get rid of it. What do you guys reckon? Is it worth it to...
Mentally, and I will give it, y'all, I have only lived in America, right? I have never lived outside of the States. I've visited, I've done different things, but to see this on a male it's really shocking. To see that you go to this much to change your attire, it's crazy, man. And I understand other cultures are different. I understand Jim Crow, colonialism, racism has affected the world differently outside of Black American culture. I understand our culture is different, but to see that you physically want to change your appearance to quote unquote be appealing to other people is a racist act. That is white supremacy, colonization, whatever you want to call it. That's what that is, man. To show that I want to change my skin because I don't feel like my natural skin tone is beautiful, then to launch your own skin bleaching line is something I can't even mentally comprehend. At the end of the day, you are going to be what's going to last in that relationship. No matter what you try to do, no matter what you try to sell, no matter what you try to go after, who you are is always going to show up. You could do whatever you want to do. You can try to change your body. You can try to alter it. You can do all of those things, but you got to understand, y'all, Mother Nature, natural choice will all hit us all. And I know in our culture, right, we are obsessed with being perfected. Perfect body, perfect lips, perfect everything. Everybody pushes that envelope. But the natural selection of who you are is always going to outlast, man. Ladies or fellas, man. trying to implement a perfect image that you know is not obtainable long term, is going to set yourself up for failures. And to see this being such a big deal, I know our ladies are dealing with it harshly because vanity is such a big deal. But to see fellas from other countries are dealing with the same thing, read, learn your history, learn about identity of self. As I tell everybody, and I don't care what people say to you, knowledge, let me get on the right one. Knowledge of self is your first rule of learning. You are not an educated person until you have knowledge of self. I'm going to try to put up books every time because I read a lot, y'all. Everything over here, I done read everything. But knowledge of self will open your mind up. Once you have knowledge of self, how you think, how you go about things, that is when you will see your whole life begin to change. That is when you're going to see things change, when they alter from you, when they grow, and the impact of all of that stuff begins to change. Until you had a basic knowledge of yourself and who you are, that stuff will not bother you. So the next video was from another content creator. You know me, I like to show the videos and get the reaction from it. And it was about the galas, not on the other one I went earlier, but this one is about some of our older ladies aging, which is natural. But not only they aging naturally, what I got from it was other women were actually being disrespectful about their aging process. It was interesting to watch, and I want to give my commentary on why it was so interesting next. Take a listen.
Kardashian is aging. Lala Anthony is aging. Y'all do realize that that's what happens in life, right? You're going to get older. You're not going to look the same way you've always looked. And that's something that you have to come to the reality of. A lot of y'all, quiet as it's kept, y'all are going to look horrible as y'all age. You know why? Because you've been playing with your face too early, right? You over here talking about you doing preventative stuff. What you should have did was prevented playing with your face early, because when you get older, you're going to look worse than you would have looked had you let life on you, right? You be doing too much. So I would kind of pipe down on the critiquing these women who you seeing online who aging, because a lot of y'all, you don't even want to see what you're going to be, right? You already in your 20s looking like you 35. So you really need to pipe it down. And you better make sure you always have your money right, because you're going to need to continue to keep on getting surgery to upkeep the divorce rate.
And you know the one thing I don't think nobody ever talks about when it comes to the surgery thing? Whenever you have kids or you with a man, if your kids don't turn out the same way, you're going to look at it kind of crazy. I'm cool with you wanting to fix your looks or getting updates. I am not going to sit right here and be the face police and all that. That ain't me. But you got to understand how you look after you get your adjustment. Your kids are not going to look that way. I meet so many people that think fixing my body is going to fix my internal problems. It's not. If you have not figured out how to communicate socially, you will not work. If you not figured out how to accept rejection, it will not work. If you have not figured out how to listen properly, it will not work. Going through life in this journey, remember, your relationship muscles, your people dealing with muscles require a different skill set. Until you maximize that skill set, until you lift, until you work, until you stretch, until you exercise, it will not get stronger. Remember, to maximize that skill set, you got to continue to work on it. That is the biggest piece of learning lesson I want people to get. We think, I have this, I can learn it, I can master it. No. Relationship skills, people dealing with skills, any soft skills require a different type of learning agenda. And every time we see, I'm going to fix my body, I'm going to get a bigger butt, I get it, right? I get it. But if you want the relationship, the friendship, your life to dynamically grow, you can't buy it. You can't buy being a good person. You can't buy being a good friend. You can't buy your work ethic. That takes you every single day to work on it. I can't buy all these books and be an educated man. I got to read them. I can't have this library and act like it's a big deal. I got to read them. Reading will help you. It's not going to help anybody else. All of these things I read have never been about anything else. It's about me wanting to grow as a man, me wanting to be a well-rounded person, me wanting to enhance my skill and my knowledge. If you want that to happen, stop looking for the shortcuts, man. I don't want my YouTube to blow up overnight. I am glad it has grown steadily. Now, I want it to keep growing so I can make some money and hopefully provide for my family one day. That's one of my dreams and desires, and God willing, it happens. But I want it to happen steadily. I want it to happen when my pace of speaking have happened. I want it to happen as my development and growth continues to happen. You want that, y'all. Don't ever try to aim for the overnight success and act like it's going to be meaningful. I don't care what nobody just said. For me, right? Let me go into my bag right quick. If you don't know, I had to ride the bus for almost 12 years. My parents and them, we didn't grow up with a car. We grew up financially struggling in a good way. I'm not shaming my parents. They provided the best way they could in the time living in the Jim Crow South. We struggled, but it taught me work ethic, resilience, gratitude, compassion, love, understanding. Your struggle is a part of your story. The more you struggle, the more you develop, the more you grow, the more you build on you, your story will begin to develop on itself, man. That's what you want to try to aim for. Trust me, not the other things, not the shortcomings, not the small stories we see happen. And remember, as you continue to develop on yourself, you ain't got to take shortcuts with it, man. You ain't got to. And as much as nobody want to say it, y'all, when you really start doing your thing, other people gonna notice. Other people gonna notice, man. And the reason why other people notice is to become more noticeable. And as we talk about more noticeable, when you don't work on those things, I want to show you a video. I hate to pop the balloon stuff. I do. But I do believe microcosms that happen in real time help shed light on why certain people are dealing with things the way they are. Fair use, sharing it, fair use, but I wanted to hit my point. All right. This voluptuous woman is 43 years old. 43 years old. 43 years old. She doesn't know this gentleman, right? But before she knows this gentleman, she has in her mind already an expectation. Just watch.
I know a lot of women be big on the 50-50 and things like that. In the past, I never done 50-50 with a woman. You know, I always feel like, me personally, I want to be the guy to be that provider. That's who I am.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you need that?
That's hers. Yeah, that's her balloon.
You want to keep it? Okay.
Damn.
Let's go find out why she popped.
Why you pop your balloon?
Because you didn't go and get it for me.
Because I didn't get that balloon for you? Okay, I want to see how bad you wanted that balloon. That's the reason why I didn't get it.
Not that bad, because you didn't get it for me.
I respect that. I respect that, love. For sure. I can give you another one. You want to get another one? You see what I'm saying? You see how you do me though?
Wait, what'd you say?
So you run a strict program too, huh?
If you go and get it, yes, I will take another balloon.
Go get you one.
No, if you
Let's bring up a balloon.
said if you go get it.
I gotta go get the balloon? Oh, I'm good, love.
Damn.
I'm fine. Look, that ship done left the dock.
Okay, let's find out why they popped.
I want y'all to understand something, how powerful that image was in real time. I want you to think about this. What the brother did was show, I wanted to see how far you will take it for me, just as much as I'll take it for you. Remember, if I always have to get and do for you, but I try to get you to do something for me, and you don't see an issue with that, that is not a partner. In a relationship, I got to play the violin sometimes. If it's not meant for me to be in the spotlight, I have to support my partner. What he did in real time, fellas, don't listen to ladies. He wanted to see, was she going to compromise with him? As a man, if you meet a young lady and she is unwilling to compromise, that cannot be your woman. Let me say it again. If you meet a young lady and she is showing attributes of unwilling to compromise, that is not your young lady. You ain't got to make it a big deal. You ain't got to scream. You ain't got to raise your voice. You ain't got to yell. You ain't got to make it contentious. You ain't got to be disrespectful. You got to see the signs and move accordingly. What that brother was, now that he's older, not scavenger dating, has a little bit of options, well-dressed, well-groomed, well-mannered. He said, I want to see what you're going to give to me. Why was this so perfect of an image to me? Fellas got to be able to, just like women do, test us. You have to test her too. All this, I'm going to give it to us. No, 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 no. She must have just as much skin in the game as you do. Because if she doesn't have as much skin in the game, she'll leave. You know why ladies leave a lot of guys and guys don't want to talk about it? She ain't got to pay nothing. It's not costing her anything. I want y'all to think about this for a second, right? Have y'all ever had a young lady you was talking to and she would tell you, I ain't going to fight. I ain't going to do this for you. I ain't going to argue with another woman about you. I ain't going to say nothing else to another girl about you. You want a woman that's going to say something to you. You want a woman that's going to have energy for you. You want a woman that's going to stand on business and protect you just as much as you protect her. Because remember, if a thief come in here tonight, my lady ain't got to get up. I got to get up. I got to protect the house, protect her, put my life on the line right now. If in that moment you can't stand up and protect me and guard my back and guard my 3 and 2, or is it 3 and 6, whichever one, right? If you can't be willing to do the same for me, do you care about me? Do you care about me enough that I add enough value that you're going to watch me just as much as I got to watch you? So that visual representation we saw in real time was actually perfect. Remember, fellas, if she's not willing to invest as much as you are into her, she is not for you. And that's okay. I think that we have reached a point that gentlemen complain about it too much. They argue about it. Man, she need to be down for me. Man, she need to be on my program. Man, she need to have my kids. No. Once you have enough options, once you've built yourself, developed yourself, worked on yourself enough, and you can have that ability to say, I'm good, love. Enjoy. You are showing you have value. The main problem that I see personally with guys is that you're dating and you don't have value. You out here trying to be with a woman, and ladies are right, and you don't have anything going on. Ladies are not wrong about what they're saying. Ladies are saying something that is true, fellas, and most fellas don't want to hear it. When you're out here dating, have value with yourself. Have some. Have confidence. Be well-read. Be interesting. Be sociable. Be mannerable. If you are not those things, when you get in this dating market, you will struggle. And the reason why you can tell the difference, right, in this dating environment, not in it, right, doing my thing, grinding, loved up, you will still see that you are still sought after, even though you're not pursuing it. It's kind of funny. Men are hunters. Women are qualifiers. Write that down. Men are naturally hunters. Women qualify every man they meet. Women are good at putting you money, status, opportunity, projection. Every woman will hit you with those 4 points every time they meet you. I don't even think most fellas understand that. How we qualify you, how you look, how you do it. Women are tremendous qualifiers. They will put you on a standard to see your potential, your opportunity, no matter where they are. And you will see it especially as they age. A great example is I'm going to show you a video of a woman right now. Name is Joy Taylor. We know she had a little situation going on this year. But what I want to speak about is how quickly women have adopted and changed what their qualification standards are and how it's changed in today's society.
I'm also like, I say this tenderly because I'm 38 fucking years old. So yeah, like I've been working for 20 years. I'm a professional adult.
So we can cut off a lot of dudes if you dating, you're not dating, whatever, but like Future, what's the age limit?
Age limit?
As far as youth to older. What's the youngest to the oldest? Like what's your range?
I'm telling myself right now. I would say right now, at my age right now. Yeah, I would not date younger than 25, 26.
That's a
Why is that funny?
No, because I thought she was going to be on.
And remember, y'all, if you were of that age, you ain't dating no 25-year-old. Y'all laying up. Remember, as a man, when I hear the word dating, dating means smashing. It means laying up. It means having fun. It means vibing. All the words you hear as a man, that means you are sexually active. I want ladies to understand that. When you say the word dating, men have registered in their mind, dating means sexually active. That's all that means. That's all that means.
I thought you would say.
I thought she was gonna be on some like 35 to 57.
Me too.
Oh no! I mean, I don't think I could. I don't know. I'm not gonna get up here and lie. Okay, young men are very aggressive and they do not care how old I am. And
Wait, but Joy, I have to ask you because this is a whole thing with women.
25
they're saying
is a
that these young
grown
men
man.
are really.
I don't even want to keep watching no more after that because when we hear the hypocrisy about ageism, we know it's a big deal, right? And date who you want to date. We all grown at the end of the day. But I do believe I wanted to show you that microcosm. Then I want to summarize it what Dr. Noor Muhammad said about it. Phenomenal brother right here. Fair use.
If he's not willing to get down on one knee for you, don't you open up two knees for him. So you should show commitment before you get access to this mother of civilization and this queen. And that if women would say no, I guarantee you there'll be a whole lot more holy matrimony and covenant connections and sacred unions going on. Sisters, I promise you, if you really knew your value, you would stop giving men discounts. If you really knew your value, you come off that clearance rack and get back behind the glass where the real valuable stuff is at. You know, when you go to a store, the clearance rack got stuff. You got a large hanger with a medium shirt and pants don't fit this outfit and stepped on stuff a few times. But whenever you behind the glass, we was getting my wife's ring serviced, and there was a sign on there that said, we are only allowed to show you one of these in this glass at a time. And I asked him, I said, why is that? He said, because of how valuable they are, we don't want to take the risk of being distracted and somebody being able to have two or three and they take one and we don't realize that it happened. That's the same way that our women have to be.
And if you don't know who this brother is, Noor Muhammad, he's a phenomenal thoughter. I've read 3 of his books. He's an amazing member of the NOI. You don't have to be a religious guy. I'm more spiritual, but I really all intellectual people to learn from him. He has phenomenal reads and books, and what he is saying is absolutely right. I never try to get into the dating dynamic thing. That ain't really, what I do. I speak on it because I do believe I am in a relationship and I know the ins and out of it. But 3 things he mentioned that were phenomenal to me as he spoke. Number 1, you have to be what you are looking for. Stop telling me that you want a relationship, that you want standards, if you want this, if you are not that. Number 2, make yourself valuable. Women, you get value by retaining. You know the words, all that stuff, being in shape, being beautiful, being courteous. Men, you have to work on yourself to gain value. Stop telling me that you want to be in a relationship, you want this, if you have not made the steps to better yourself as a man. As a man, I will say this now. You do not deserve access to women if you ain't got your stuff right, man. I'm not saying you can't date certain caliber, but stop getting after certain women if you don't have your basics, if you don't have your place, if you don't have a car, if you don't have a steady job, if you don't have a steady income. Stop trying to date, man. You complicate your life by trying to do that. I'm not saying you can't go out. I'm not saying you can't have fun. But to say that you want to co-mingle your life with a woman, I want y'all to understand something, fellas. When you have a woman in your life, nobody will ever tell you this, but listen to King Crowder. It is an obligation. Women are an obligation that you are responsible for. Do not believe the hype that, it ain't that my responsibility. Yes, it is. Once that woman is under your tutelage, once that woman is under your legacy, once that woman is under your lifestyle, it is your responsibility to guide her. It is your responsibility to teach her. It is your responsibility to lead her. It is your responsibility to make sure that she is safe, taken care of, protected, and provided for. Until you are mentally in a space where you can do that, and it takes time. Don't do it, bro. Like I've said in my other interviews, other videos, other content, stay away from it. Have fun with the joints. You can have fun. We know who they are. Have fun. But when you really say, I want these practical things, I really want a relationship. Remember, relationships are for people of courting that are serious where family's gonna come from. Families are a serious thing as well, too, man. We tend to de-incentivize acting like it's not a major thing. It is a major thing. It's a major deal. So we know these obligations, these things are coming about. Stop acting like it's slept on and it's not meaningful. It is. And as we continue to see it happening over and over and over again, I'm not going to sit right here and always say that the ladies are wrong, y'all. The ladies ain't. The ladies have their flaws. You know me, I'm going to keep it 1,000. But fellas, we got to do right too. Get your paper right. Get your mind right. Get your social life right. Get your career right. I ain't say perfect. Remember, get it ascending. Get it kicked off. Don't even have a job, man, to come to her. No, she shouldn't date you. As a man that got sisters, hope kids, daughters one day, and a lady, you got to have your stuff in order, man. If you ain't got it in order, don't date. Have fun. Lay up. Don't date with potential of courting. It will eliminate so many problems. Remember, marriage is about families, a man and a woman. That's what it is. We need more marriages, not kids. Marriages, unions, man and a woman. That's what we need. More strong marriages, more strong everything else. That's the main desire and main thing we're missing right now, man. And as I continue to go into these type of discussions, I want people to understand that when we go into real life and have real life conversations, you know, one big thing that I believe is a myth that's being popped in real time, right? As I went through and do my research, you know me, find my talking points for y'all. Remember, share, comment, like, subscribe to the channel. Share it live, share it live. There was a topic talked about this week. Is traveling overrated? Before I give my opinion, I want y'all to watch this phenomenal content creator, and he broke it down. And I want y'all to give me, in the comments, talking to me, what you think before I give my opinion.
Nearly as important as people try to make it seem. Unless you have the money to travel the way you want, or you're in the military, right? Those are the only two major exceptions I can think of right now where like the people who've traveled the world matter. When you, bro, these creators have created such a culture around traveling the world that they're like giving you tricks and tips on how to travel as cheap as possible. Well, if you go to this country, that country, and this country, and you stay in a hostel, and you stay in a room with no air conditioning with 16 other people that you don't know, and all you're carrying is a backpack, gotta get you some good hiking shoes. That shit is, oh my God. They're existing within a culture and trying to make it seem as if they're more important. They don't have some deeper perspective than you do. They went and traveled in the poorest part of that country and said that because they did that, that like they have a better worldview because they learned about the poor people in another country. They've never been to like the east side of St. Louis. They really understand. It's akin to the people who are like, yeah, no, go buy a bus for $10,000, renovate it for $20,000, drive around the United States, and then you're somebody. Yeah, bro, relax. There are people with a better worldview than you, and they've never left the country. They just like to read. Like at this point, you don't have to leave the country to learn about the rest of the world. Enough people have done it. You don't have to do it. And it's such a like people. I saw a guy who ruined his life to go travel. Sold everything and traveled the world, came back and was like, not worth it. I don't know if y'all seen the video, but he was like, yeah, I ran out of money and I came back and like my life was fucked up. I thought I wasn't coming back, but now I'm back. Or like these people that move to these countries, this low cost of living, and then they never tell you about all the negatives of doing that. Gotta learn new language, gotta learn new customs, some of which you might hate. A lot of those places will never accept you because you're from America. And you just gotta accept that and move apologetically everywhere that you move because they feel like it takes too much effort to live here.
It's a great topic. And I want to talk about something that I notice a lot. A lot of people, y'all, don't like their lives. Traveling to some people is a form of escapism, right? Traveling to certain people is a form of escapism. Escapism is used to get out and not have an honest opinion about what the life they're dealing with, right? We go to travel to get away from our problems. Traveling is used to not acknowledge, man, maybe I don't have my social life in order. Maybe I haven't gotten my health right. Maybe my spouse or my relationship that I want to have in real life is not happening. Maybe I want to go here to learn about this culture that I do find interesting, but I'm just going, not finding any prior research, not learning the language, immersing myself in it. To me, traveling is beneficial if you are not just going to go into resorts. Most people that travel, y'all, you got to remember, they go to the resorts, they go to the tourist locations, and they stay there. If you're not immersing yourself or going to small historical museums, you're not really learning anything. Traveling's purpose is to enlighten you and see a foreign land and understand. I get it. But a lot of people that go and travel do not do that. They go to eat, to party, to dance, to drink. Nothing about the exhibits that I'm going for is to learn anything about other cultures. I.e., an example. I asked this example, but I'm going to flip it, right? Are you an educated person if you don't read? No. Just because you went to school, you got a degree, you got a job, that you did something, you are not educated. It is a constant process, like a wheel. You got to constantly do it. Just like traveling, immersing yourself, getting yourself cultured, getting off an airplane, going to the location. Does that make you well traveled? No. You have to literally get the background, gain the understanding, be deliberate about what you're going to see. The traveling thing that we see is all about money, seeing things, pictures. Most of the time, when you talk about historical references of places that you're going to travel, people don't even talk about it. I'm going to give you a great example. I know so many people that have been to New Orleans have never been to the Whitney Plantation. Me, no matter what city I go into, I look for the historical knowledge. I look for the small historical avenue I can go into. I look and see the historical documents and things they got going on. I try to immerse myself and find gems like that in the area I can go to. Why do you do that, King Crowder? Because I believe that's important. Going to the local history museum, not the national one, the local one. Going to that local venue to find out about the local celebrities in that area. Going to those local cabins and seeing what's going on. That is the true meaning of traveling. The whole traveling experiment that we see right now is not the same. When we discuss traveling, it's more go to this resort, drink this mojito, have this drink, have on this fit, take a picture in front of that sign. That's what that brother is talking about. And I believe he's right. I do believe that the extent of traveling that we talk about is not to learn anything. It is all social media driven. If you didn't have a camera, if you couldn't take pictures, would you still enjoy travel? Me, I enjoy traveling if it's something making money from, something I can learn from, or it's leisure. If it's travel just to go here, to go to this club, count me out. If it's travel just to go to have no plans, count me out. Let it be meaningful. I don't want to go anywhere just to go. My life has to be intentional. My life has to be deliberate. I have a lot of things going on. I have a lot of great things I'm working on. If you are not intentional with what you're working on and what you're doing, you can see it. You can see in real time, like, oh, you ain't got nothing going on. That's why you can go to this place without a real sophistication or avenue to do. Oh, it's not meaningful to you. Got it. I believe when that creator said that, that is the essence issue that he missed. Remember, we are not anti-travel. I'm not anti-travel, but I'm pro-reading. If you just travel and don't read, I got to scratch my head. If you just read and don't travel, I got to scratch my head. For you to go to school and don't read, I got to scratch my head. Remember, it's a cycle thing. You need all of those things to be proper. Like going to the gym. If you just go to the gym and don't change your diet, you're not getting the full course. It's a cycle of things that must be done. I think that's the biggest thing that we miss all the time when we speak about these behaviors and these topics. He brought up a great topic, though, because I do believe the travel bubble is popping. I'm going to give you a great example. I have 3 different travel destinations. I got to travel this week. I'm traveling to go back home. We have a trip in June, and I have homecoming. Shout out to 10 years at Hampton University. 05015. Man, round trip, 4 different flights. Guess how much they were? Less than $300 per flight. Think about this for a second. Round trip flight was less than $300. What does that tell me? The economy's bad. Everybody's saying they got money. It's bad. Those Trump garnishment things are starting to hit. Those real life things that we see people going through are starting to hit. Remember, y'all, it has been a document, a legal document talking about how we're going to recoup money. Everybody's still rich, but the economy, the housing market, and everything is changing it from our very eyes. And most people have not spoke, talked, or really dove into that subject. And I believe it's important. We see it in real time, y'all. The economy is changing. The flight costs are changing. The costs of housing are changing. For everybody to be traveling, living life, and recouping so far, why do these things continue to drop and have a heavy influence on us all? Let us keep going. The Trump administration is cutting down things real bad. As somebody that has family members that still deal with this program, I want everybody to spread this word, y'all. The budget cut program for Section 8. Let me repeat that again. If you are receiving government funded housing, if you are getting subsidized loans, if you are getting Pell Grant, all of that stuff, y'all, they're cutting it. The Trump administration, by 2026, are slashing those programs. They are already forcing you to pay your student loans. They are forcing you to recoup your money. They are making budget recycle. Everybody got to understand, what costs do you want to cut? In real time, y'all. You ain't got to like it. You ain't got to agree. But the budget program is in. I want y'all to pay attention. 2026, they are replacing the voucher program with statewide initiative. What that means? If you are in any type of government assistance, please get a job right now. Figure out where you'll get employment. Figure out where you're going to get off these programs. Figure out how you're going to help you provide yourself for your family. As much as you don't want to hear it, they are starting to make the well drizzle right now. Remember, I'm around our people that have it. They are getting letters as we speak. Hey, those programs and things you're getting, they're getting slashed in half. Before they even get removed, we are forcing you to uptake your rent and pay more. They saying it. I'm going to give y'all a hot take. They are doing that to force relationships. Remember, Roe v. Wade got repealed back. Housing is expensive. Government cuts. We're reducing college spending. People don't understand in real time, the world is not set up for individuals. If you're living by yourself, if you're going through life by yourself, if you are thinking by yourself, the world is showing you in real time, we ain't on that. We cutting back. We removing. We are cutting government spending. If you are living above your means, if you got the nice car and nice apartment, turn one in. Ain't nobody else gonna tell you King Credit gonna keep it 1,000 with you. They are already slashing those programs now. Turn it in. Turn in the house that costs too much. Turn in the thing that you can't afford. Get rid of it now. Don't go through the humiliation. Don't go through the problem. Don't go through the issues. Men are already hearing the hey big head text. Fellas, they are already hearing it. Ladies, men are already hearing the hey big head text. The government spending program is already happening. You ain't got to like it. You ain't got to love it. But they are already seeing it affect us in real ways. So now that you know this, you need to move, operate, and rock accordingly. What I think, whatever you got to do to reduce your spending. If you are living above your means, you got a hard cap of money above you. Stop spending it. Trade the car in, not the apartment. Do whatever you got to do to make sure you are on target. I want to give a shout out to our next video today, man. As we continue to move along, comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. If y'all haven't seen, streamer Cenat started his own Streamer University. Shout out to the young brother, doing well. But like most people, I haven't forgot about his story. And I noticed little drippings or droplets of people speaking about it against it. I want you to hear Karita speak on it.
He don't understand this shit because he.
Let's pay attention. Fair use, everybody, fair use.
Hey, did y'all just like forget what Cenat had to say about Black Americans, or do y'all just not care because you have low racial self-esteem? And if you do, that's cool. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, but I would just find it funny considering how a lot of y'all were carrying on about centers for like 2-3 weeks straight, say how much you love being Black American. I mean, we have so much rich culture and history, but you begging this clown for opportunity. And I don't care if it was a year ago. I don't care if he's a young man. That's not an excuse. He's a whole ass adult, and he profits off Black American culture while simultaneously saying that we don't have any. I just find it funny. You know, go ahead and apply. I hope some of y'all get in, but just know if you get in and you standing behind this clown, I don't really want to see you talking about Black American shit no more. Because if I see you, I'm going to talk about you. I'm going to be on your ass. But, you know, do what y'all want to do. Hope you get in. Hope it works out for you.
Brother spit the bar. Before I really dive into it, there was another conversation about it when it came up in a different way, but it was about the divide we see amongst other cultures trying to cosplay and using our thing before I give my closing thoughts.
I have custody of both minds.
Hold on. Let's keep going. Fair use, fair use. I'm sorry about that, y'all. Comment, like, subscribe to the channel. Where is that? There you go.
Just sitting here thinking, remember when we could tell where you bitches was from based off of how y'all dressed? How y'all dressed, though? We knew exactly where y'all were from based off of how y'all dressed. And it went something like this. Damn.
I think for me too, y'all, I notice a lot of people from foreign countries really try to go into that hood aesthetic, but they do too much of it. It's not natural.
South bitches, y'all could never dress.
And this is why I can't stand New York motherfuckers, bro. They just act like they just invented and created every fucking thing, and everybody just got
No bap with that too, man. New York, y'all are the king of cap. Y'all. Shout out to this brother right here going in on it, but he not lying.
bow down to New York nigga. Ain't been relevant since that fat cockeyed motherfucker hit the dirt. The last relevant motherfucker y'all had was Tekashi 6ix9ine, and he was a Mexican that y'all let run around and say nigga. Mind you, whole sound, persona, and swag nowadays come from down south because y'all can't get on. Shawty,
okay.
Every time people find
Lord. Going on what that brother was saying. Number one, a lot of the New Yorkers, the Northeast, the Cenats have a problem. You try to diss many Black Americans in this country while trying to copy the swag. The young lady and him run into a problem. Both of y'all come from immigrant backgrounds, right? You try to say slick comments trying to ride the wave, but while you're riding the wave, you're trying to be disrespectful. Cenat, make the comment about Black Americans not having no culture while dressing, emulating, talking, speaking, and doing everything from our culture. The other young lady made a comment about Black American women not having a style of dress when she is from Nigeria and she doesn't look, talk, speak, or act like a Nigerian-based woman. The reason why many people in the Black American community y'all have an issue nowadays is that it's becoming too much. It is. It's becoming to the point where it's like all the issues and the problems you got to speak about. Why do you continue to open your mouth and speak on things like this? Your opinion and what you talk about is becoming obsolete because it's becoming too much. It's becoming to the point, man, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to listen to it. I just don't even want to try to process it anymore. I want you to develop your own sense of style and entitlement. I want you to create your own lane. We have an anti-biting thing, man. I cannot bite your swag. I cannot bite your raps. I cannot culturally do the same thing to get the influence from that. But you don't understand that it's different outside of that community. So biting seems normal. Not innovating, not coming up with something new, not really having a hard-hitting conversation. Biting can be perceived as normal and it's not amongst other people. So I want you to understand this. And I'm saying this humbly, y'all. Until you address that real issue of what y'all dealing with internally, stop trying to project the issues that y'all got going on us, man. Ain't nobody else gonna tell you right now, but I'm tired of it, bro. I'm tired of speaking on it. I'm tired of hearing about it. The delineation movement is real. It's happening because we see these incremental drips coming from other cultures. Now that the wagon has been circled, now that the own code behavior is the way it is, all you can do is respect it. And I want y'all to understand, the era of realness is here. The whole fugazi, we saying this, we saying that, is out of there. And if you don't believe me, people are really checking paperwork now. BlackStatistics.com, man, put up this stat. Foreign-born black population in America. The most one that you'll see foreigners in. They put the numbers up. Boston, Massachusetts, Miami, Minneapolis, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey. That whole Northeast corridor is immigrant. Bridgeport, Connecticut, Seattle, Washington, Florida. If it's not Texas, I want you to look at the most lowest area of foreign-born black. Jackson, Mississippi, Georgia, Louisiana, Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee, Birmingham, and Mobile, Alabama. So when we see these conversations and we know where we come from ethnically, I don't think we would have seen stats like this 20, 30 years ago. I don't think we would have. But now that we see these stats and this information being posted, people are going to immediately go to your paperwork and see where you're from. I know they don't like what Tariq Nasheed said because Tariq Nasheed is that guy. He's funny. But it's true. That comment of where's your family from is not going away, bro. It's not. The reason why this must be asked because the underlying disrespect is too great. If I hear you from the Northeast, if I hear you from Miami, Minnesota, I know what time it is. It just is what it is now. The numbers are out, the stats are out, the paperwork is being shared. Y'all don't understand that the landscape that has changed from 10 years ago. We have adjusted. The world has adjusted. The government has adjusted. I want y'all to see this video from our president, 4547. Just watch.
Today, I signed an executive order to launch the first ever self-deportation program for illegal aliens.
Did you hear that? Self-deportation. I want y'all to understand how real this is. If you are an illegal in this country, they getting you to bleep up out of here. This ain't me. This 4547 talking. I don't think it's going to change.
We are making it as easy as possible for illegal aliens to leave America. Any illegal alien can simply show up at an airport and receive a free flight out of our country.
Sheesh. You know it's bad when they want to give you a free flight no matter what airport you go into. That's actually kind of scary when you think about it.
We have also launched a phone app called CBP Home. That's CBP Home, where illegals can book a free flight to any foreign country. As long as it's not here, you can go anywhere you want. We're also adding.
Did y'all hear that? This is 4547 speaking openly.
A very important exit bonus for illegals to further incentivize their self-deportation. This deportation bonus will save American taxpayers billions and billions of dollars. What Biden did to this country can never be explained, will never, ever be accepted. Eventually, when the illegals are gone, it will save us trillions of dollars. However, if illegal aliens choose to remain in America, they're remaining illegally and they will face severe consequences. Illegal aliens who stay in America face punishments, including significant jail time, enormous financial penalties, confiscation of all property, garnishment of all wages, imprisonment and incarceration, and sudden deportation in a place and manner solely of our discretion. So to all illegal aliens, book your free flight right now. We want you out of America, but if you're really good, we're going to try and help you get back in. Thank you.
I don't think people understand how serious that is. This issue of immigration that they're speaking of, y'all, that they're talking about right now, I don't think people understand historical context, how big of an issue they're making this. The illegal immigration from the Trump presidency is his thumbprint legislation. He is going to implement that and change the landscape of America. I don't think enough people understand the gravitas of this, but he is changing everything. Can you imagine from here moving forward, the culture of that status coming about? It's over with. There is no more immigration buzz the wave is going to be had. They are going to change it severely. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it, portray it, go with it. It's happening. I don't think people understand from that landscape how far it's going to go back from a historical lens. When you see landmark legislation happen, I want you to understand, people are banking themselves on that happening. They're banking on themselves on it happening and what is the long-term effect on it. And the reason why we got to mention these things is that when we have our Black authors or Black people that talk about this from a historical context, when you hear points being mentioned, like the great Shahrazad Ali, you got to remember who is going to incentivize, who could potentially help.
God is a man. You represent God. And I tell Black women, the closest you may ever get to God is being with a Black man, because he looks more like you than me. Nobody never saved nobody but you. And you have been beat down so discouraged that it's very difficult. But I want you to know that you will be the winner. You are the original man. God didn't make everybody and then make you. He made you first. And everybody was modeled after you on some level. That's real talk. That ain't to soothe your ego. These are actual facts that if we could get our men to understand and accept. And I know it don't look like it now. I know some of the guys in the gutter. I know some of them in prison. Some of them on drugs. Some of them out here acting ignorant. Some of them pretending to be a woman. But that does not change the foundation of who.
I don't think people understand the original implication it's going to have from this moment. So as we've talked about all these stories today, the Hinton, the Candance Owens, the non-FBA speaking on FBA business, the Black American culture that we see going on, the strategy, the tactics, the immigration, the statuses that we see are happening in this country. What's the biggest thing I want people to understand? The biggest thing I want you to understand is that America is going through a transitional period. And the old social norms that worked no longer work anymore. People are speaking out. Opinions are being made. Culture is being set. And tones are being vocally transformed with it. I want to go to these last two. One is a content creator. It's one from the great Fred Hinton before I give my closing thoughts. And I want you to understand why every discussion that's being talked about is revolutionary. Fair use. Pay attention.
So let me get this straight. God speaks to you about Black culture. You cannot say American.
Oh, here we go. I'm sorry about that, y'all. My bad. I didn't mean to hit it. Let me go to it again.
So let me get this straight. God speaks to you about Black culture, Hollywood movies, witchcraft, Beyonce, but he never speaks to you about your president. He never speaks to you about racism. He never speaks to you about systematic injustices. He never speaks to you about mass deportation and children being ripped away from their families. He never speaks to you about the genocide that's happening right now in the Middle East. But he wants you to warn us about a Hollywood film. That's very interesting.
And you know the sad part about it? From going from the Cry Out Festival last weekend, remember that on the last live, y'all. I don't think the disconnect that most church folks have and understanding is real now. People are tired of selective honesty. You got to tell the truth all the time, or don't talk about no issues. If you don't speak truth to power, we are in a period that we do not like filtered messages. We do not like self-speak. We do not like biased conversations. Either you want to keep it real all the way, or your lack of authenticity is going to hurt you. As a Black man, having a content, speaking to it, building an audience, trying to captivate my own self, you got to keep it 100. You got to. Once you keep it 100, once you have strong feelings, strong opinions, strong thoughts, you will see yourself grow. But the whole vanilla, we gonna get along, church crowd, chucking and jiving wave is over with. As someone that went to Cry Out Con last week, that was beautifully done, I was shocked about the disconnect between the church people living and the people that live in the Black Americans live in the world. It wasn't no talk of reparations. It wasn't no talk of Carmelo Anthony. It wasn't no talk of no real issues going on. It was all stay with God, pay your tithes, be a good husband. It was never deal with no issues. It was never discuss gentrification. It was nothing to address real problems. And like I tell everybody, 30 and under, Black males do not go to church. The church community for males 30 and under is over with. You ain't got to like it. You ain't got to support it. But the movement, the wave, the understanding is DONE. And a lot of people don't understand that we look at leaders and things in the past, and they spoke about different things about church and other communities and how it affects us. But it's crazy how it comes back up again in real time. Fair use, last video of the night, y'all. Fair use.
Not a racist organization because we understand that racism is an excuse used for capitalism, and we know that racism is just a byproduct of capitalism. If we don't hate the motherfucker white people, we hate the oppressor, whether he be white, black, brown, or yellow. We're gonna fight racism, not racism, but we're gonna fight with solidarity. We said we're not gonna fight capitalism with black capitalism, but we're going to fight with socialism. Everything would be all right if everything was put back in the hands of the people, and we're gonna have to put it back in the hands of the people. And these people in this class have divided themselves. They say, I'm black and I hate white people. I'm white and I hate black people. I'm Latin American and I hate hillbillies. I'm hillbilly and I hate Indians. So we fighting amongst each other. Nothing's more important than stopping fascism because fascism will stop us all. That's the people's thing. Socialism is the people. You're afraid of yourself. If you're afraid of socialism, you're afraid of yourself.
Man, Fred Hampton was beyond his time. I have a book that I'm going to read about this brother, the assassination of him. No matter what you thought about your studies and what your argument is, what I began to learn going along my journey is one thing, y'all. People that avoid real issues are very glaring. When you don't have an opinion about something, it is very noticeable. You will not have friends if you don't have strong opinions. You know what I value the most about people? People that have strong feelings. People that have no feelings, people that go along to get along, Take care of yourself. Enjoy your family. I love you. I hope you enjoy yourself. And I hope you're going this week better than you left it. Until next time, comment, like, subscribe, share the channel. Until next time, until next week, I'ma see you. King, Carter. Dance with it. I don't know why I let it talk so much.